Here the Watchmen presents The Future of America with Mike Kerr. Isaiah 21:6 says, "For thus the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he sees." Today, Mike Kerr and his fellow watchmen discuss current events through a biblical lens and how these events affect us, the future of America, and the world we live in.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Kerr, and this is The Future of America. On today's show, we have something a little different for you. My wife and I came across an incredible author who lives down in the San Diego area and who has written a very unique book that I'm going to have him talk to you about. His name is Chad Stewart. Chad, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Chad, I can't even begin to describe what you've done with this book because I couldn't do it justice. and my wife, Jeannie, just jumped up and down when she came across it. Talk to us about what the book is and why you wrote it.
Sure. And I just mailed you guys some books. You should have those by Saturday. So
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's the first book is called Brit and the Lost Crown. It's a 7-book series followed by 7 movies. And we actually have the first movie in development, so we can come back to that. And I'm originally from Newport Beach, California. I was back east for 16 years, and I had the vision, if you will, or the idea for Britfield and Lost Crown while I was an investment banker of all things, and I was down at this boring seminar in Providence, Rhode Island, and I started to drift and I started to doodle, and so I just doodled a very simple thing: a circle, 3 lines, a basket, a boy and a girl, and I wrote the boy and the balloon, and that was my idea. But for some reason, that really resonated with me, so I went home that weekend and I started to outline just on one piece of paper this whole story. 2 orphans, Tom and Sarah. It takes place in present time in England, up in northern England at this horrible place called Weatherly Orphanage. Tom's been there for 6 years, and this is the year he vows to escape, but he's not going anywhere without his best friend Sarah. And they eventually commandeer a hot air balloon, but they're relentlessly chased by the illustrious Detective Gowerstone. So that was kind of it. It was just kind of a fun book. I was writing a lot of nonfiction. I was published through Pelican Publishing, and I just was dying to get back to my creative roots and just have some fun. I had no idea that at that moment, or the beginning of that, was going to be the next quarter of a century of my life. And so I sat down and I started writing. It took me 4 years and 2,500 hours to finish Britfield and Lost Crown. It's 384 pages. It was officially released and launched in August of 2019. Since then, it's become an extraordinary bestseller, and it's actually now one of the most awarded books in children's fiction. So it's just had this unbelievable, profound, and powerful impact across the nation. And we're now moving sort of abroad. And what's great about the book is many things. Number one, it's really based on family, friendship, loyalty, and courage. And if you were to ask me what's the main theme of the book and the series, I'd say it's all about family. And it's all about principles and character and faith. But it's a book that's open to all denominations, all backgrounds, and everyone loves it. Our youngest reader's been 7, our oldest reader's been 93. I've had 12-year-olds that have read the 400 pages in 5 hours. So it's just had massive impact. And we started a school tour across the nation. And so I ended up driving 9,000 miles, 23 states, presented in over 180 schools to more than 40,000 students. And I've presented everywhere: Title I schools, public, private, even a homeschool farm in Reno, Nevada. Been all the way up to Seattle, all the way down to New Orleans, and all the way to Tennessee, and until everything got cut short in early 2020. But it was just amazing. I'd come in, we'd have auditoriums of 200-300 children, ages 4th through 8th grade. And I just kind of told them a little bit about my story. And I was really there for a lot of reasons. One, obviously, just to promote the book and me as an author. But it was really just to encourage them, number one, to let them know that they're all creative, let them know that they all have gifts, that they're all individuals, because I know we live in this sort of clouded educational system, the social agenda, if you will, the sheep mentality and right and wrong. And there's, so we're really trying to bring creativity back into the classroom, bring in the ideas of character, creativity, critical thinking, communication. And I would present to them for 45, 50 minutes. We had a very fun, engaging presentation with obviously beautiful pictures of England, and then some stuff with the books. And then I would come in and I'd talk about creativity, and we used like Pixar and Toy Story as an example. We played a couple movie trailers and clips. And so it was really a very fun and engaged, audience. But I mean, I'd be about 45, 50 minutes into it with 300 children, students, and you could hear a pin drop. They were just totally engaged. And I think for many reasons. One, I was there out of complete and total sincerity. I wasn't trying to trick them, and I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I cared about every one of them. And I was really there just to encourage them. And I'd really talk about having an idea. I talked about my story. And I tell them I had an idea, and it took me 10 years from concept to actually launching the book in 2019. Hard work, discipline, failure, rejection. And finally, we fulfilled it. And I told them, to trust your instinct, to trust your ideas. And I tell them sometimes it may take you 3, 5, 10 years to realize your idea. And I tell them every overnight success takes about 2 decades. 1 to 2 decades. And I tell them the difference between a hobby and a profession is about 8 to 10,000 hours. So I'm not there to give them flashover substance and you can do anything and all that kind of, if you will, nonsense. I'm there really honestly. But if you work really hard at something, it's like, what better place to be than pursuing something that you want to do, something that you believe in. And most people won't believe in that. And I give them example after example, things they can resonate with. Everything, even like Star Wars and George Lucas with his script as he's going out to Hollywood, and he was rejected by every single person in Hollywood. Every studio rejected him, every producer, every director said it was nonsense. No one's going to come and see a movie about outer space. It doesn't make any sense. And it's now the 4th highest grossing movie in the history of cinema. So it's a 7-book series. What's great about it too is it's based on family values. It takes place in present time, which I think is really, really important. And so it's a comparison to sort of the C.S. Lewis and Narnia series in that sense of an underlying message, if you will. But it has the impact of Harry Potter. But on the other side of that, we're the anti-Harry Potter book. We're really trying to, and our goal in the next 10 years, and I believe we can do it, is to actually outsell Harry Potter, because what we're offering is the truth. What we're offering is something real. And we're not peddling witchcraft and magic and all that other crap and garbage and agenda that's being pushed by mainstream. So second, what's great about it is that it's got education in it. We like to call it stealth education. So child can be reading it and they're learning about history, geography. We've got 5 maps in the front. They're learning about culture, architecture, literature, art, all these wonderful things that's through every single book. Book 1's in England, book 2's in France. We just launched book 2, Britfield and the Rise of the Lion, 474 pages, in July 4th. And that's already become a bestseller. It's doing very well. Book 3, which I've just now finished, is in Italy, about 550 pages, if you can imagine. Book 4 will be in Eastern Europe and Russia. Book 5 will be in Asia and China. Book 6 will be in South America. Then we bring back book 7 to the United States. And in every book, Tom and Sarah are 12 in book 1. By the end, they're 18, so they grow by 1 age. And so it's really, really exciting. It's an engaging, fast-paced adventure. It's got a royal mystery to it. But it's really just a wonderful way of educating today's students and getting them engaged with learning and learning about history. And we've got this amazing award-winning website, britfield.com. It's got over 400 pictures of England, and it's got interactive maps. It's got 100 pages of more information, and we've just had amazing feedback. And the idea is that it can complement as you're reading the book. We always say that the website's 1 step removed from a movie. And we also developed a 83-page study guide for schools, for teachers, and from homeschoolers, because Britfield and the Lost Crown is really designed to be taught in the classroom. And so we've had tons of schools across the nation, private and public, that have already adopted Britfield into the reading curriculum, which is sort of our long game and our end game. I mean, there's 100,000 elementary and middle schools in the United States. Our goal is in the next 8 to 10 years to be in all of them, at least in the library, and to be taught in at least half of them. And so it's exciting. So we say it's more than a book, it's a movement.
Well,
and,
I got to tell you, I mean, Chad, what a breath of fresh air. I mean, you are bringing in a book to our children that talks about family values, that it doesn't get all involved with witchcraft and voodoo and all the other crazy stuff, especially at a time when our schools are being forced and our children are being forced to digest information that's just complete crap.
Yep.
Do you see with your book, do you hope to turn that around to a point where we can get back in the schools and teach kids family values?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, we're we're making enormous impact. I think the difference is I'm not talking about what needs to be done or what I would like to do. We're doing it, and we're doing it now. We instantly transitioned. We went from in person. I was in Memphis, Tennessee in March 2020 and had to drive all the way back. And I was like, and I was really looking forward to getting up to like Chicago and Ohio and East Coast and the South. So we transitioned into as so many other people had to immediately transition, but we transitioned into a virtual author visit. And now we're not only nationally, but we're doing it globally. We have a school lined up in Northern England. I was finally able to penetrate Florida, Georgia, Indiana. So we just, we've almost done about 30 states. And so it's incredible. Next year, our main focus is really to go global. And we're hoping in the next 18 months that Brit Field and Lost Crown is a household name. So we are making major impact, and it's threefold. We also have a wonderful partnership with a retail company that happens to be in 55,000 schools in the United States. And I was working that relationship for like 18 months. And finally, the gentleman that works there, he's been there for about 8 years. He goes, I get about 2,000 inquiries, a year from all the big publishers to carry the book. And he goes, we love Britfield. We're going to now lead with Britfield as the #1 middle school book. And so they did a huge purchase of 5,000 books, which is big in the publishing industry, to kind of pilot it this spring. They just put another order in for 23,000, and they're going to do another 50,000 next spring. So, eventually, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, they're hoping to get Britfield in all 55,000 schools. So that's great impact from that side. We also have the study guide, which is great for all the teachers to actually teach it, and the kids love it. And it also has this wonderful side effect that again, how the Lord works, if you will, where kids that have problem reading or difficulties reading are reading Britfield and Lost Crown. And I've gotten that feedback from all types of librarians. They say, I don't know what it is. She goes, I had a 12 or 13-year-old that walked in. He never reads anything. I gave him Britfield, and she goes, it's like the first book that he's ever finished. And so it just and that's a lot of the way that I write my style. I don't have any fluff. It's written very tightly. I was trained as a script writer, a movie script writer for 10 years. And so everything's based on the 3-act structure. It's a refinement of words and flow, and the book that's why 12-year-olds could sit down and read it in one sitting, which is, I can't read it in one sitting. And then we also have the Britfield Institute, which is our other company, which is focused on bringing creativity and literacy and reading back into the classroom. And so we have all types of workshops. We have free resources for teachers. So we're just hitting them and penetrating them from multiple different angles. Eventually, in the next 8 to 10 years, transforming the educational climate in the United States. And there's also this mass exodus with schools, as you well know of. And I'll say this, it was very interesting when this whole thing started over 18 months ago, and I came back from my trip and I saw all these schools closing. And I said to my team, I said, how many kids do you think will go back to school once it opens? And that was just kind of my theory. And I said, I'm basing it on 3 things. One is children will come home, and for the first time in the parent's life, they'll realize what these children are being taught. I mean, just the sexualization, the garbage, the agenda, the communism. So that'll startle them. Number 2, how far a lot of their children are behind in certain subjects. So like, you're 12, you're 13, you're 14, and you're still struggling with this. And number 3, that they could sit down with their homework in the morning, and then within 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours, be done with the whole day, and have the rest of the day to do things that they want to do, to play, to create, to go outside, to do whatever they want to do. And I based it on those 3 things, and I started seeing statistics come back late last year and then even into this year, that 30 to 40% of children won't be going back to school. So we are living right now in an educational reformation. And we're also living in a homeschool revolution, which is exciting. 18 months ago, homeschool market was about 5 million. It's now about 15 million and growing. So this is powerful. And it's really kind of awesome how the Lord will use things like this for the benefits. And I mean, even when this whole thing started to happen, I saw 8, 10 positive things that were going to come out of this. It's hard. I know we're all going through it, but amazing things are happening. People are doing amazing things. Parents are standing up. School boards are being challenged in pockets in main states. It is amazing, and it's exciting. So,
well, Chad, thank you so much. How do people find you and find the book?
Yeah, just go to Britfield.com. It's Britfield, Britfield.com. Check out our website. It's exciting. It's fun. We have over 100 interviews that we've done on there. everything from television to radio, mainstream to homeschool. We have the products there, so you can buy the books, and then it's just a great experience. If you're reading the book, or if you're a homeschooler and you're teaching it, or even a teacher, you can utilize the website. And I talk about Yorkshire, Northern England. You can pull it up, and you get these beautiful big pictures. I talk about Oxford. You can pull it up and get these beautiful pictures of Oxford, Windsor, London, Hyde Park, all these things. So the website's the best way, and we're also on, obviously, Amazon and all the other main platforms. We have hardcover, softcover, audio, and ebook.
Wow. Well, listen, I want to thank you for joining us today. Truly exciting work you're doing, and exactly what's needed. Thank you, Chad.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of The Future in America. And on a bright note, just kind of gives you a bright note that there is hope to be found for our kids. As I always say, don't ever give up. Never stop helping your brothers and sisters. Until we see you again, God bless each and every one of you.
To support the work of Hear the Watchmen, find a way to get involved, or learn more about upcoming events, visit our website at www.hearthewatchmenmen.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hear the Watchman Journey, and be sure to share our content on your social media. God bless you, and thanks for your prayers and support. And until next time, go be a watchman on the wall and declare all that God has shown you.